Yo, chat, what's up? How's everyone doing tonight? Sorry for starting to stream up so late. I was gonna be live earlier, and I was gonna do Mario Kart World tonight. But I was spending some time with my family, with my parents, and we just got to talking about life and a whole bunch of different stuff. And I lost track of time, and I didn't get home until like 15 minutes ago. So what we're doing tonight is I'm jumping on with Jacob Shadowminer, who is the host of the Voice Chat Vibes podcast, and obviously I'm a frequent guest on said podcast. So we're gonna be doing episode 6, and then I'm gonna probably cut off stream there for tonight, and then tomorrow during the daytime I'll do a Mario Kart World stream. I just feel like Mario Kart World, it being a brand new game on a brand new system and stuff, I would feel like it would be, I don't know. It would feel weird to be playing it tonight and literally expect people to stay awake till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning to see me play the game for the first time. And I've just figured it's not worth it. Plus, I actually have a poll going on right now on my Instagram story that basically I want the community to decide which character I use for my first game of Mario Kart World. And as of right now, I believe Cow or Moo Moo, as the community I'm sure is going to call it, Moo Moo slash Cow leads the vote right now with 2, and then let me check the others real quick. Actually, while I'm here, um, so right now it is 2 for Cow slash Moo Moo, 1 for Luigi, 1 for Mario, 1 for Bowser, and 1 for Baby Luigi. So, um, go ahead and if you'd like to, I would actually it would mean a lot if you would go over to my Instagram story and vote on the story. Let me know. It's just a poll thing. You just fill in which character you want to see me use for my first game. Let me actually here. Let me do this. Let me get my Instagram page link and I'll put it in chat. But again, I would really appreciate everyone who's here. If you haven't already, go and vote on my Instagram story. I posted it this morning, so it should be. I think the first thing that shows up when you click on my story it should be the very first one, and then after that is just some other stuff I posted. I posted all the results, like as far as everyone that's submitted and stuff. I've posted all of the answers on my story as well, just so that way everyone has an idea of which characters have been voted for. If you want to see a specific one, kind of who's in the lead. Like I said, right now it's Cal slash Mumu with 2 votes. I'm trying to figure out how I can copy. Wait, hold on. Give me a second. Copy link address. Let me try this and see if it works. Control V. Yeah. Okay. There it is. So if you click on that link, let me check and make sure it works. Yeah. So if you go and click on the link that was just put in chat, it takes you to my Instagram page. If you could, again, just go and vote on my Instagram story. Let me know which character you want to see me use first on tomorrow's stream when I do Mario Kart World. It'll be my first time playing the game. I do have the Switch 2 here. Here, I'll take a video of it. I have the Switch 2 on my desk right there, and then I'll show this here in a second. But I bought a Pro controller, like a third party Pro controller for Switch 1. Let me see if I do that. I think that'll work if I just show the video. Yeah. So Switch 2's on my desk right now. And that's the Pro controller, which I actually could pick up the Pro controller and just show it right here. It's a RGB one. It's like a third party. I forgot what the company name is. It's like PDP, I think, or PHP or PDP or something like that. It's a Switch One Pro controller. I figured it was worth picking up a Pro controller. I didn't want to spend $85 on a controller. That's a little insane to me, but I bought one that was a little bit less expensive. It's third party. Everything that I've seen so far, it connects to the Switch with no issue. There's actually I accidentally pressed one of the no. It was lit up for a second. Hold on. There it is. So it's RGB backlit controller and stuff. And so yeah, that's that's going to be on tomorrow's stream. Again, go vote on my Instagram story. Let me know which character you want to see me use first. Cal's leading right now with 2 votes, but it's only 2 votes, and there's several characters that only have one. And you know, if you put in a character that hasn't already been named, all it takes is one other person to say that same character, and it could be potentially that character that you put in being used. So that's going to be tomorrow's stream. And once again, tonight, I'm going to be doing episode 6 of Voice Chat Vibes podcast with Jacob. He's getting everything set up right now. We'll do collab stream, we'll do share chat and all that. He said he's planning on going live on his own channel. So if if anyone's here who hasn't already followed Jacob, whenever we get the share chat going, definitely take that opportunity to go follow Jacob over on Twitch, of course. And yeah, so that's the plan for tonight. For tomorrow, I don't know specifically yet what time I'll be live tomorrow. It'll be during the daytime because I do have to work tomorrow night. So it'll be at some point during the day tomorrow. Uh, it's just a question of which. It's just a question of what time specifically, and I don't have a solid answer yet. I can't show off the Joy Cons. I do have the Joy Cons for the Switch 2. I could pull those off, and they're very satisfying. I didn't have I never got a Switch 1, but Switch 2 is very satisfying. The process of putting the control Joy Cons and taking them off. They're basically magnets and stuff, and they have these little buttons on the back that you press in, and it has like a little latch thing. That's how you pull them off, and then just connecting them, as long as you have them lined up, because it's magnetic, because it's a magnetic system, it just like kind of auto locks in, which is really cool. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen on a console. Um, it's very satisfying. So yeah, I haven't. Again, I got the Switch 2. I went in. I streamed it last night. Me the process of picking it up. I didn't realize until I was going back and rewatching that stream that because I think the network quality was so bad, the stream was really choppy and low quality, and it actually like cut out for most of the time that I was actually inside of the GameStop, like when I was going at the counter picking it up. I had the stream muted anyways just to be safe because I didn't want any personal info for myself or anyone else that was in any other customers that were in the store at the time. I didn't want stream to be picking up that info, but um anyways, I say all that to say I picked up my Switch 2 last night. It was actually right around this time last night that I was picking it up. It was a couple minutes after 12:30, and it's a couple minutes before 12:30 right now, as of the time that this stream is live. Obviously, if you're watching on VODs, first of all, welcome in. Appreciate you watching the VODs. And second of all, right now, during the actual live stream portion, it is currently 12:29 in the morning, and I was going to do Mario Kart World tonight, but it started stream up too late. But yeah, what was I saying? Um, yeah, about this time last night, I picked up my Switch 2. I got home, I stayed up late. I actually stayed up later than I should have, and that's part of the reason why I didn't get a stream in today of Mario Kart World is because I actually overslept. But I got home after getting the Switch 2. I took a little bit getting stuff set up, making sure it connected to the TV in my living room, and then I actually carried it over. It's obviously sitting on my desk right now because I think what I'm gonna do, and this is just a little behind the scenes. What I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna handle it with the Switch 2 is I think whenever I'm not playing it on stream, I'm gonna have it hooked up in my living room, which is like it's out this hall. But my apartment's pretty small. It's like the next room over. But I think what I'm gonna do is just whenever I'm just like just laid back, just playing the Switch 2 just to play it, it's gonna be set up in my living room. But whenever I'm playing it on stream, obviously I'm gonna have it in my room on my desk where it can have everything hooked up to stream and all that. Um, so yeah, that's the plan. I probably like. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play Mario Kart World and all that on stream. I'm gonna incorporate it into stream, of course. Um, but I will say that for the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World, like as far as whenever I'm gaming, just not recording videos, not streaming or anything like that, I think my Switch 2 is going to become more of my like just kind of laid back, just gaming, just like just not in a content creation mindset, but just in a playing games just for the enjoyment of it and stuff. I think that I think that's what the Switch 2 is going to be for me because I've gotten like I still play Fall Guys off stream. I still play Fortnite off stream. I jump on with Ethan and whatnot. I have games on my Xbox that I play off stream. Um, but I think I've just gotten a little bit burnt out of the game. Like when I'm not in the content creation, like when I'm not in a stream or a video making mindset, like the games that I have on Xbox have gotten a little bit stale. So, um, again, don't worry. That's me saying that about the Switch 2 about Mario Kart does not mean I'm not going to be streaming it. I'm very much going to be streaming Mario Kart World and, as games release down the line. If I end up getting more games for Switch 2, of course, I'll stream those as well. But just know that Switch 2, I say all that to say Switch 2 is going to be my more kind of leisurely, just kind of laid back gaming console. Whereas my Xbox, of course, is still going to be stream and video centric for the most part. Still play a little bit offline here and there, mainly when I jump on Fortnite and run or jump on some other games and run games with the squads. But yeah, I'm yapping. I'm just trying to stall for time because I don't know if Jacob's ready to go yet. He made it look like when we were texting in Discord, he made it look like he was going to be ready to go in a minute, but I haven't heard any updates yet. I text, I sent it in the group chat on his server, asking if I was good to get stream going because we had been on Discord voice chat just a little bit ago while I was driving home, trying to coordinate stream tonight and all that stuff, and we had both agreed and that we were going to do shared chat and a collab stream for the podcast and all that. So I was trying to see if I missed any DMs or anything from him. Doesn't look like it. Hopefully soon he'll be up and ready to go. I'm gonna take a quick minute. I'm gonna run an ad break, make sure I got everything ready to go, and then we'll be back here in a few minutes. Appreciate everyone who's here tonight. I know I started stream way later than usual. But I do appreciate it. Appreciate everyone who's here, regardless. I'm gonna shift my chat box over because now it's driving me nuts. I had it shifted too far to the right, and now it was shifted too far to the left. It's kind of driving me insane now that I noticed it. Okay, I'm gonna run an ad break. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Appreciate y'all for hanging out tonight. I'll be back in a few. Okay, let me see. Did my camera get messed up? Did my camera angle? Yeah, my camera angle shifted. I was adjusting. Hold on. Okay, let's try that. Is that better? I shifted down a tiny bit. Hold on. There we go. I think that's about where it was. See, that's gonna be one of the annoying things is switching back and forth between. What I'm doing is I'm gonna run some Fall Guys, just some regular Fall Guys solos while I'm waiting for Jacob. What I think is gonna be the most annoying part about how I have my setup right now, I don't have enough desk space to put my Xbox on my desk. It has to stay literally right. Like I can't show it, but you gotta just trust me. Where I have my webcam set up, I have a there's my TV is right here. Just below it, there's a stand, and it has speakers for whenever I'm not wanting to use my headphones, but just still wanting to hear game sounds or watch YouTube or whatever. I have speakers right behind on either side of the Xbox. One speaker is literally right behind. I think that's what happened was the one speaker adjusted the position of the tripod the camera's on, and that's what screwed up the camera angle. And then I have my Xbox like literally 2 inches from the right from this side of the camera. The you would see it as the right side. To me, it's the left side. Maybe 2 inches over is the Xbox. And I say all that to say it's going to be annoying whenever I'm trying to go back and forth between playing the Switch and playing the Xbox with the capture card, because I got to unplug the HDMI from the capture card from one system and plug it into the next. It's just going to be a lot of shuffling stuff around, and I'm not going to lie, my cable management is a nightmare. Like, it would be enough to make someone probably scream and throw up. Um, so that's going to be slightly annoying, but yeah. I'm just going to leave. I think we're on just chatting. I'm pretty sure right now. Let me check and make sure. Yeah, we're still on just chatting. You know what? I'll change the category over to Fall Guys, and then we'll change it whenever Jacob's ready to go. I'll change the category back over to podcasts and stuff. But I'm just gonna run some Fall Guys. While we're waiting on Jacob, I'm just gonna run some Fall Guys. And the other thing too that I gotta figure out is adjusting my actual positioning of how I have things laid out on the screen. Like I'm gonna turn the Spotify display off, and I'm for context, I'm talking about whenever I do Mario Kart World tomorrow. I'm going to obviously turn the Spotify display off, but I'm gonna have to move all of my webcam and everything. I'm gonna have to like shift it over, and I gotta figure out kind of where to put it on the actual screen, so it's not blocking, because I'm pretty sure I've seen a little bit of gameplay of Mario Kart World, and oh, free stuff, cool. I know it's for Pride Month and whatnot. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, because I was watching a little bit of Mario Kart World gameplay and stuff, and I know that on the bottom right corner shows the position that you're in. The middle right screen shows the map, where you're at on the map. Top left shows the items. And then I think bottom left shows the amount of coins you have and what you have on what the amount of coins. The bottom left shows the amount of coins you have, and it shows what lap you're on. So I'm thinking either I'm thinking the webcam either moves up to the top right or moves to the middle left. And of the two, I'm probably leaning top right. But I'll have to test it out and try to see what works best. It'll be kind of a trial and error thing, I think. For the first, at least at bare minimum, the first stream, if not the first couple streams, it's going to be kind of trial and error. Try to figure out what works, what doesn't, as far as how to present everything on stream. Because I do want to keep the poggers thing on the. Oh, I can't keep it on the bottom left. That's the issue. Because that's where the coins and the thing are. See, that's the thing, is like every game is different. Like this layout for the most part with the Spotify display and everything, the only exception is the poggers thing being on the bottom left blocks part of the name, but like when I'm spectating someone else. But like other than that, there really isn't a whole lot on the bottom left of Fall Guys. But like every game has a different UI, and it's like a matter of trying to figure out what works for each game. I kind of wish, like, you know what I wish? That freaking, I knew it. Of course, it's the 2 on the right. I'm probably dead here. What I wish, like, Streamlabs would do, what they would add in as a feature, is the ability to preset layouts depending on what game you're in. Also, there's no lamp qualifying here. I'm so dead. Unless I get a perfect E display, I'm dead. Freaking knew it. Awful luck on that one row with all of the stupid things being on the far right without anything in the middle or left. Stupid. But yeah, no, I've kind of wished that Streamlabs would use, like, add in a feature where you can preset different layouts for, like, your webcam, for the chat box, for, like the Poggers banner, the Spotify display, Discord voice displays, like, stuff like that. If they had a way to add it and, like, save the preset for game by game, that way you can have different layouts depending on what the UI of the game is. Like, I think that would be sick. Because it is difficult. Like, I love the way I have things laid out right now. And it sucks to, like, have to move and adjust everything and then try to remember exactly how I had stuff laid out. Like, down to the pixel and everything like that. Like, I'm gonna have to, before I adjust everything, I'm gonna have to go through and write the, exact locations of, like, all the different graphics and stuff. Before I switch over to Mario Kart World, I'm gonna have to, like, go and, before I edit, write down where everything is at on the screen right now and save that, so that way I can go back through and write it down after I switch back, or whatever that looks like. Or what I could do is, depending on, well, I have to assume that that's going on the assumption that the Switch 2 is equally as powerful and is equally as capable of running games to the Xbox, which I don't know if it is. Like, it's way more powerful. I don't think there's any debate. That's so unfortunate. What was that? Actually, what was that? Like, Switch 2 is leagues, miles ahead of the Switch 1 in terms of power and performance. But I don't know if it's on the level of a Series X, which is what I'm using right now for my Xbox. That's the thing. Because what I could do is theoretically, if the Switch 2 matches up and has the same output quality-wise and everything as my Xbox, I could just use my Switch 2 full time for stream and then use my Xbox for offline stuff. That way I don't have to adjust everything, but that just seems tedious, and that's entirely dependent on how well the Switch 2 can run. It's kind of a slippery slope. There's no real good way of handling streaming from multiple consoles. Like, there's really no good way to handle it, because no matter how you cut it, it's either I'm having to order another capture card and figure out where I could plug it in to keep track of which capture card is for which console. Either that or having to switch back and forth between using the one capture card for 2 consoles, or just using one console, but potentially, I don't know. I don't know, chat. I got a lot of tinkering to do, basically is what I'm saying. I got a lot of tinkering to figure out with how I'm gonna handle this with the Switch 2. Because, like, I have every intention of playing it. Like, I paid, you know, $400 whatever for it. Like, I obviously have intentions of using it on stream. Are you serious? Is this the kind of luck I have in the game tonight? I freaking bounced my fat head off of the outside of the ring? Are you actually joking? I just gotta lock in and try to get these silvers. The gold ring is just not... That play is just not happening right now. I don't know what the deal is. Where's it even at? Freaking... Of course. Love that. I might actually be out here. I'm glad this isn't ranked. I'll say that. No. Okay. Never mind. They both goofed. Alright. We're fine. Glad this is just public lobbies and not ranked. This is not good. I gotta do, like... I should have grinded Fortnite, I think. I should have tried to grind Fortnite, because now the season's about to come to an end, and I'm not even close to having the Battle Pass done. And, I was already, like... I was already trying to juggle 2 games just between Fortnite with the Star Wars season and the ranked mode on Fall Guys. And now I just threw in a whole other console and game, so... I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna handle stream stuff. I gotta get... I'm trying to get the community more involved, like with stuff like this, with like the character, like the community picking which character I use for Mario Kart World for the first race tomorrow. I'm trying to get the community more involved and like try to do more of what the not like still do kind of like what I want to do, but also like involve the community as far as like what does the community want to see me do? Do you want to see me use a specific skin? Do you want to see me play a specific game? That guy tried to grab me. I don't know. We can make that. Don't grab. Don't grab. Dude, there's a bunch of grabbers. I'm glad this is Publix, or I would be flipping my lid right now. I would be losing it. I'm just consistently trying to check Discord to see if when Jacob's ready. He's still not ready to go. Hopefully sometime here in the next little bit we'll get this podcast up and going. In the meantime, I'm just gonna hang out on Fall Guys and just keep chatting, but I did not intend for I did not intend for the last like 30 something minutes to be just a one-person therapy session where I talk about the state of my channel and all that, but that's what it turned into. But yeah. I don't know, yeah. I was just saying that a little bit ago. I don't know how I don't know what the balance is gonna be between Fortnite, Fall Guys, Ranked, and Mario Kart World. I don't know, because I do want to continue to play all 3 on stream. There's just a lot of like stuff that like probably for like if you're not a streamer or whatnot, stuff that wouldn't even come like cross your mind. Like for example, the thing with the capture card between the 2 consoles and stuff. Like that's something that like people that don't stream probably wouldn't think about, or if they do think about it, it's not something that they would ever put more than a couple seconds of thought into. but like, it's like a big thing, because it's like, you know, fundamentally, if you're doing streams based on gaming, like, you gotta know what this is not working. I'm about to be killed again early. For the third game in a row, I'm about to be killed in the first 2 rounds. I think I survived with barely. Literally second to last. Second to last. Almost could not be any closer to not qualifying. But it's just a ton of like tiny things that kind of don't really show. Like, I could talk about them on stream, but it's just a lot of like tiny things that really make the stream what it is. And this is kind of new territory for me, because I mean, I've like, when I first started streaming and that, I was using an Xbox One. That's when I was doing direct from Xbox to stream. It was before I had even the gaming laptop. I was on the gaming laptop. I was on the gaming laptop for after I had my Xbox One that I was using, and I upgraded to the Series X before I even got my gaming laptop, during that era when I was using the gaming laptop for stream management, before I got the PC that I'm using now. But like, even then, I say all that to say, like, even though I technically did start using a different console, it was an upgrade. It was just an Xbox One to an Xbox Series X. But at its core, it's still an Xbox. It's still the same games and everything. It's just on a newer console. But like, with this is uncharted territory for me, because this is just an entirely different thing. It's not Xbox One to Series X. This is a Switch 2, which I never had a Switch 1 at all. And 2, I definitely didn't have any Nintendo. I wasn't streaming Nintendo games on stream. Like, I'm yapping. I'm sorry, I'm yapping. But like, it's just like, I'm just like kind of getting out everything that's in my head. And I'm just kind of like spilling it out, and it's all unorganized and all that stuff. My thoughts are not coherent at all, and I know that. I'm sorry, but hopefully hopefully that helps paint a picture of like kind of my kind of the situation I find myself in with how to handle just basically everything when it comes to the gameplay aspect of stream going forward, because like, it's a big thing. You know, the Switch 2, it opens up doors for like playing games on stream that you know, I never would have had the chance to otherwise, without buying the Switch or Switch 2 or whatnot. But like, the drawback of that is that it kind of challenges the status quo of how I've been doing things with the channel since the beginning. So yeah, cherry, grape, orange, watermelon was back here. Oh, there was one in the middle as well. That's fine. Okay. Grape, banana, apple. Grape, banana, apple, cherry, watermelon. I have a feeling it's gonna be watermelon again. If it isn't, I'm screwed. Oh, okay. There we go. Well, there's my answer. I had a feeling it was gonna be watermelon. And sure enough, I called it. One guy fell off at the very end. That's rough. After he made it to the right platform, like, the platforms were about to spawn back in, dude. What are you doing there? How are you falling off after the hard part of, after literally everything in the round is over? Fruit shoot. I haven't even, like, like the last few days, I haven't had a chance to work on the Fall Guys tier list on editing it at all. That's gonna take a while. I got so much footage to go through and cut and edit the way I want it to be. Like, it's gonna take a while, but I want it to be the best quality I can make it by the time it's all said and done. So I've gotten, like, the first... Oh, there's no hammer. What the heck? Why is there no hammer? That sucks. Okay. Well, glad I realized that quickly, instead of full sending for the hammer play. That's P1. First P1 of the night, surprisingly. But yeah, the Fall Guys video is nowhere near done. I'll try to update you guys as I get closer to having it finished, but I'm just telling you right now, it's gonna take a couple weeks before it's ready. Before it's to a level that I want it to be, I should say. It's gonna take a little bit, but I will get it out eventually and have it ready to go. Just checking. Still no word from Jacob. He said like almost 45 minutes ago now that he would be on in a sec, and it's been radio silence. Hopefully, I'm just gonna keep hoping that sometime soon here he's gonna be ready to go and we'll get the podcast going. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm just gonna keep playing Fall Guys. It's just laid back again. I'm not playing ranked. I gotta do, like, I got so much I gotta do, and with my work schedule, I'm just like, I feel like I'm weeks behind, even though, like, how do I put it? I'm dead, of course. That was stupid on my part. I should have known that was a bad idea. Like, okay. I've just been, you know what? I've just been like a water spout. I've just been spouting out words as they come to my mind all stream so far. Fortnite, I gotta get... Well, Fortnite, it's probably too late now to try and grind. I gotta work tomorrow night, and the season ends on Saturday. So that's probably a lost cause, but... Fall Guys Ranked, I gotta keep working on that. Mario Kart World, I'm gonna do that stream tomorrow. Not I gotta, like... I say I got it, but you, like, understand, chat. I'm not saying I got it in terms of, like, oh, I have to do this. I'm saying, like, I gotta, like, you know, this game is brand new and stuff. I gotta start getting some gameplay on it. I gotta show it off and all that. So I gotta get some Mario Kart World content for stream and for videos. I still gotta keep doing the Fall Guys ranked journey. I gotta keep working on that. I got the Fall Guys tier list. Like, it's a ton of stuff that's going through my head, and like, that sucks. I don't get that checkpoint. Are you actually joking? But yeah, it's like so much stuff. I don't know if I've ever felt this overwhelmed with ideas and projects that like I shouldn't be making myself stressed. I don't know how to put it. It shouldn't be stressful because it is, like, I genuinely enjoy doing it and it's exciting and everything, but there's just so much that it's like, you know what I mean, chat? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, whoever said you can't have too much of a good thing was wrong. You can have too much. You can hit a point where you're just overwhelmed. And like, maybe by my own volition and because I'm doing it to myself, that's kind of where I feel like I'm at. With like just streaming, YouTube, all that stuff. And like, I don't know. Maybe it makes me like not good at what I do or whatnot, but it's just part of it, I guess. I don't really have an excuse like to try to downplay it or anything. Like, I'm just kind of spouting what's in my head. And, yeah, it's a lot. It's very exciting. It's like, I genuinely enjoy doing all that. I enjoyed streaming. I enjoyed making videos and stuff. There's just a lot of stuff that I want to do. And, like, with my current work schedule, it's going to take me a while to, like, actually be able to do everything that I want to do. So, yeah. Who's qualifying? Is it gonna be this guy? I think it's gonna be this guy. Never mind. Someone was at the finish line and I didn't see him. It is 1 in the morning. I'm glad I don't have to work till tomorrow night. But yeah, I will. Let me do that. I know I talked about it earlier. Join the Discord using the link that was just put in the description. I'll be live at some point tomorrow during the daytime. For the first Mario Kart World stream. I don't know exactly when yet. I don't know exactly when yet, but I will be doing it tomorrow. Because I gotta go into work tomorrow night. So it's gonna have to be a day stream. For sure. That's mine. Yep. That's mine. That's mine again. Thank you. One is not mine. That's okay though. That's... Oh, you suck. You moved out of the way at the last split second. I had it lined up and everything. It's fine. That's mine. Okay, one more. There it is. Alright, we're through. Relatively easy. Could have done a little better, but it is what it is. Chat, is if anyone's here in chat, let me know. Did you get a Switch 2? If you have you played it yet? And if you got one, let me know what you think of it so far. I should have asked that earlier. I've been so like self-absorbed talking about me. So yeah, let me know in chat if y'all got a Switch 2. Let me know. Did you go and wait in line last night, or did you get it shipped directly to you? You know, what game or games did you get for it? What do you think of the console so far? Do you like it better than the Switch 1? I don't have the experience of playing the Switch 1. I never got one myself, so I don't really have a point of comparison. But I definitely want to know if you did. Oh, whoops! If you did get a Switch 1 and if you got both the Switch 1 and Switch 2, let me know which one you like more. Let me know which one's better. All that stuff. I'm getting to where I'm just checking literally after every round to see if Jacob texts back to say he's ready for the podcast. I'm hoping soon I'll get an answer. There you go. Got it. Oh, I screwed it up. I bounced off the outside of... What I was trying to do was go just inside of that one that I bounced my fat head off of and go back and loop around to get to that other one before I went to the respawn point. Did not work, though. Went 0 for 2 on the rings I was trying to get. There we go. Okay, let's try this again. I'll hopefully get it right this time and show you what I was trying to do the first time. Okay, go out here. I still messed up the angle. That was the idea, though. I was trying to get to that ring that I just barely missed, and I just messed up the angle. Should still be able to qualify here. Not gonna get P1, but should get it. Yeah. That was what, 5th or 6th? Actually, like everyone qualified right away, so that was actually like scary close. There we go. All of the top 5 were like right there. Is this gonna be first final round of the night? No, second. What am I talking about? I had the Hexa ring where I just dove off. And now we get Hexagon. Okay. Fine. Would have preferred to fall mountain there, but it is what it is. Okay, Jacob posted a vid for voice chat. Dak drop. That hopefully means he's almost ready. The fact that he's on at least posting stuff on Discord. I'll just keep checking. I don't know fully what the topics for tonight's podcast episode are going to be. I know we're definitely talking Switch 2. I just don't know what else quite yet we're going to be talking about, but we'll figure it out. It'll be good. Yeah, you're not getting that. Goodbye. There we go. Dang it. Okay. Why are you running a... I don't understand the logic. I don't understand the logic. Oh, lovely. Okay. Stay up there. Yep. Okay. Someone's already down on the bottom level. Noted. That's fine. Take that. I should have ran there. I should have ran. I could have made that if I went a split second faster. Let them take that. Never mind. That was a bad idea. No, I got nothing. Got freaking nothing, man. Glad this is public lobbies, because, man, that's rough. That's rough. We'll just keep running solos until we're ready to go. This is game 4? Game 5? I'm either on game 4 or 5. I think I'm on 5 because I got eliminated like round 1 on the first game with the DoorDash. I think this is game 5 and no wins. Yikes. Okay. Back corner not ideal, but at least the bar's spinning counterclockwise. See if I can get a play here. Nope. Cannot get a play. Unfortunate. What about this? Sort of. I thought you could make that without... Yeah, that was nearly a... and then it still ended up nearly being a terrible mistake, even though I waited. I'm just not locked in tonight on this game. I'm just not locked in. Nearly got my head taken off again there. Stop! Okay, well, no, actually, thank you. Please do that again next time. The guy that grabbed me actually, like, legitimately helped me get through that first try clean. Still wasn't good enough to get first, but whatever. Oh, guys, we're playing with Justin Bieber, 94. Someone really went in when they were making their Xbox account, and they were like, you know what? I'm gonna pick a username, and it's gonna be Justin Bieber, like Justin, but with 2 I's. Justin Bieber. Like, just an actual person's name. And then they're just going to put a number on the end of it and they're going to call it a day. We're playing with the celebrity chat. Hype. Get some hype in chat for that. Oh, triple bar version. Okay. If I get grabbed, I'm dead. Like, actually, I gotta get away from everyone here. Please can the 9 just fall off quick. I just want to say, bro, you fell off 9 times, like, really fast, and it not apply to me, specifically. There goes 3. 6. 7, 8, there we go. Ooh, triple bar jump club is real scary. Triple bar jump club with the fruit cannons is the stuff nightmares are made out of. Feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way. Okay, well. That didn't work like I was hoping it would. It's fine. Well, I'm not getting gold ring. See, this is why I hate... This right here is why I hate this round being in ranked. Because of that. You just don't get a good spawn, and, like, immediately one person is guaranteed qualify. Just because they got a good spawn and you didn't. It sucks. And, like, there's no amount of skill that can change the fact that when you spawn in, it's random. And if you get spawned in across the map from the gold ring, you just literally don't even have a chance. It's just not even physically possible. Also, I'm dead unless I get a gold ring, like, right now. That's mine. Yep. I still might be dead. I need to find just a regular. There we go. See, this is me. I'm just not locked in tonight. I'm still surviving some of these rounds, but some of them are torching me. That's another one where I just was not locked in. Brother, there's nothing on the entire side of the map. Where are you going? Well, hindsight being 2020, I could have done a Mario Kart World stream tonight. I was literally backing out of my parents' driveway. And my parents, you know, my parents live like 20-25 minutes away from my apartment. I was literally backing out of my apartment when I got the notification that Jacob was wanting to do a podcast episode tonight. And I was like, well, I'll do a podcast episode, but it's probably too late for Mario Kart World. And, hindsight being 2020, I've been live for an hour. I could have done a Mario Kart stream. I could have played some tonight before the podcast, but I didn't know it at the time. I had assumed that, by the time I got back, you know, I would get my stuff set up for streaming and whatnot, and then we would be ready to go from there. Leave me alone. Stop following me. Stop following me. I'm so not locked in on the round because this guy keeps trying to follow me. Okay, he stopped. Don't do it. Going back corner of red. There we go. Blue and green are going. Noted. 2 out, 5 left to go. I had to make sure I counted that right. I was about to say 4. The 2 plus 4 is not 7, it's 6. Probably go back across to green here in a second. No, Justin Bieber 94 is out. What a shame. Okay, red and blue. I'm gonna go over to green. Should be relatively okay here. Just gotta keep moving. Whoa, how did that hit me? How did that hit me? I specifically ran around the edge of that platform so that one wouldn't hit me. How did I still get hit? Come on, game. You can't do that. This is public. It doesn't matter. It's not ranked, but you can't be doing that. Come on now. Come on. That's ridiculous and you know it. I literally ran around the edge of the platform knowing that that one was about to slap down, and somehow it's still connected. I'll have to go back and rewatch the VOD, maybe. I don't know. I swear I got around the danger zone there from that one, and somehow, nope. Apparently not. So still no wins on the night. I can't tell the drums if they're from Come Together and or if they're from the lobby, like the intermission music playing in the game. If it was from the intermission music playing, it actually synced up perfectly with Come Together. I genuinely couldn't tell for a minute. I literally was so locked in on trying to figure out if I was hearing the drums from the actual song or from the game music. You know me. One thing I can tell you is you've got to be free. Together. Right now. Over me. I should be able to make that, yep. Go around this way. That was a mistake, evidently. Come on, let me get over. Get over. Who pressed the stupid button? It's just the kind of night I'm having on this game tonight, apparently. Come on, paddles. Get me up there. And now I'm gonna get body blocked. Come on. Get me up there. Come on now. What is going on in this game tonight, dude? I mean, I'm not locked in, but the game is doing me no favors. is 3. Basic math chat. 1 and 1 and 1 is 3. Write it down. This is the math lesson tonight. You're getting a math lesson at 1:30 in the morning, chat. Need to know also, we'll be on the test tomorrow on tomorrow's stream. Tomorrow's stream will include a test, and I will ask you what 1 and 1 and 1 is. So, be sure you wrote it down. I'm not saying it again. Stop. I just have, like, I've played this game long enough that I can read through the movements of the other characters, the other players. I can read what they're about to do. Like, that black and red guy, he was running up on me. I knew he was about to try and grab me. It's like a sixth sense. I don't understand how I've developed a sixth sense for this game. It's, like, actually insane. Like, none of these guys are gonna grab me right now. Like, maybe that's the new thing I start doing during Fall Guys, is I call out whenever someone's about to run up and try to grab me. If I see them start running towards me, I can tell if they're gonna try and grab or not. I think that's the play. I keep forgetting this one's unvaulted. Keep on riding, yeah, keep on shouting. Wanna rock and roll all night. I wish I said walk unintentionally. I wanna rock and roll all night. And party every day. I wanna rock and roll all night. And party every day. I was gonna say, I should be able to make that. That sucks. I sold out for that one. That was only going to count for one anyways. Dude, come on, man! Thank you. That sucks to not get P1 after that hot start I had. I had like 5 straight orange rings. I got to 10 points in the span of like 15 seconds. And still didn't get first. I almost closed out Discord. Finally, Fall Mountain. Thank you. Feels like it's been a year since I've pulled Fall Mountain. Probably at least somewhat in part because I don't think Fall Mountain's in ranked, which sucks. I wish it wasn't ranked. I would actually very much enjoy that. But regardless, it feels like I haven't had Fall Mountain final in a year. Yep. Knew that was happening. There we go. In first place territory right now, but never mind. I just can't talk. I cannot talk. If I open my mouth, something bad... Nope. 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 Absolutely insane. As soon the split second I start talking about how good of a position I'm in, I just immediately get my round wrecked. Actually insane. Do I have to do challenges or anything? I should have checked earlier. I still have 10 days or 11 days on these. Yeah. I've been playing for, what, 45 minutes? 45, 50 minutes? I played like 5, 6 games of solo, and I don't have a single win. I only have 2 wins in ranked. I didn't get a single win in the entire contender rank set. Like, jeez, man. It's a combination of me not playing great and also just the game saying screw you. Over the last, like, I don't know, week and a half I've played this game on stream. It's been tough sledding out here, chat. It has not been fun. It's been fun streaming, but the actual gameplay has not been fun. I did all of these challenges off stream because I was like, I'm not doing it on stream with the way I've been playing. So I already got all those challenges done off stream with Ethan. And it's what you cannot change. Didn't even point out until just now that Freebird is on. And you already know, chat. You already know I gotta mute up for the Fall Guys. It's 1:30 in the morning. You gotta understand. It's 1:30 in the morning. That's why I'm hoping to get this podcast started soon. My gosh, it's already getting bad now, and I haven't even started the podcast episode yet. What I was gonna say before my brain short-circuited is you already know, once the Freebird solo hits, I go silent until the Freebird solo's over. I'll type in a bunch of 07s in chat for the Freebird solo, and I'm going silent until the solo ends. I'm actually gonna pre-type the message. I'll type that in here in a minute. I'll put some 07s on that message and pin it that way. When the Freebird solo hits, we go silent. Oh, that sucks. I had that. I got through that, and the dude was just standing there at the very end of blocking. Unfortunate. Another example of me just not being locked in tonight. One of my most surefire. Oh, wait, never mind. The guy messed up. Hold on, that's P1. That's the second. I think that is legitimately only the second P1 I've had so far. I think that's the only one I've had. Also, I'm typing out the message. Put some 07s in chat, and then I'm going to put my 07 emote. Alright, here comes Freebird solo. I'm muting up for a few minutes, chat. 07s in chat. Pay respects to the Freebird solo. I'll talk to you in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. Thank you for paying respects to the Freebird solo. Alright, so a lot happened during that. I had the stupid one where I screwed up like 5 times, but somehow still qualified. Then I had an awful spawn on the Hoopsie Legends. I think that's the one. Hoopsie Legends had a terrible spawn, but somehow still got P1 because of that one gold ring spawning in at the perfect spot. And I hit my mic in the middle of that. I'm sure you probably saw it. I hit my mic, and I had to make sure it didn't like come undone and fall off my desk. But yep, there we go. And now I'm getting my 4th P1 of the night here. I'm calling it right now. Never mind. I'm just gonna dive and go in the complete wrong direction from where I pressed dive. That's fine. Push me forward. Thank you. This is big brain. This is big brain time, chat. There we go. That's P1. That's P1. Warp locked back in. Finally getting the mojo back. Jacob put the videos for the backdrop and still hasn't said anything about if he's ready or not. Well, I went live with the intention of doing the podcast within the first, I don't know. I would have thought we would have been at least, you know, halfway through the podcast by now, but I haven't even started it yet. So, apologize. I'm just gonna keep playing Fall Guys until we're ready. I don't know. Not sure what's going on. I don't know what the deal is. I was fully expecting to at least have started the podcast by this point. Even if we weren't a decent, you know, even if we were still at the beginning of the podcast at this point, I was fully expecting to have at least had it going, like actively getting the podcast going and underway right now, but obviously it's not the case yet. So I'm just gonna keep playing the waiting game until Jacob's ready, I guess. I don't really have a choice. Like, I mean, I told him I was gonna stream tonight. We agreed that we were gonna do the collab stream and share chat and all that. So we'll just see what happens. Someone fell off right away. What was that short jump? Did I get footstooled or something? That was weird. Okay, at what point does the ring start to loop back around? It should be soon. Like in the next couple seconds, I would think. There it is. I called it. I knew it. Any way you want it. Well, don't start giving me weird ragdoll physics. I think I bounced off the dragon's head. I think that's what happened there. Yeah, what level players? 72? Okay. So say, how in the world is there still like half the lobby alive in the level 49? Okay, that adds up then. That actually makes sense. There's more weird ragdoll physics there, just like getting pushed in a completely different direction from where I was originally going. It's very strange. Why? Why are you doing this to me tonight, game? Why? What are the physics there? Actually, what are the physics? Explain the physics to me. I'm landing on the platform and getting pushed 5 levels back. What is going on? I'm not... This is regular public lobbies. This is regular public lobbies. Calm down. This is not ranked. But what are the physics there? Actually, what are the physics there on that? Why? Why am I just getting pushed back like I'm in Star Wars? Someone just force pushed me halfway across the map and got me killed. Why is the game doing this tonight? Why? Makes no sense. Okay. Well, good way to end this. Good way to end the Fall Guys part of the stream. I think we're ready to go for the podcast. Oh my gosh, what a frustrating night on the sticks. Even though I'm not playing ranked, that's still not a single win and just awful final rounds. Anyways, let me get into VC, get things set up. I'm going to run an ad break and we'll be back to do the podcast here in just a minute. I'm going to hit pause on the Spotify.
before I get into anything, we got freaking Jame and Alex on tonight, but I'll get those guys in here in a second. Don't know why I tilted my video that way
We're finally ready to go, chat. Finally ready to go.
by going out to the bridge in the Mississippi River, and I tried to stream, or not stream, record for like other stuff I'm working on. But anyways, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Today we're just going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch 2. That's out. We're going to tell you our thoughts. I have one. Alex has one. John May does not have one. It's interesting to say the least. And then Streamer University is one of those things that happened, I guess. So we're going to talk about that. A lot of stuff to talk about. So well, actually, before I go ahead and a lot of people haven't heard from you guys in a while. How are you guys doing?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Fabulous, yes.
Nice. So I'll let you guys go first. Since we haven't heard from you guys in a while, I'll start with Alex. How have you been lately? Other than Switch 2 madness and all that.
Yeah, no, I've been good. It's been a little hectic with just personal things going on with my job and all that stuff, and with the content creation grind, with streams, YouTube, everything like that. I've been very busy, but I've been in a good mood, and it's been good. Yeah, I've been good.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I get it. We've both been going through that little job thing. Jobs today, man, are tough. um, can't tell you how many applications I went through like alone. So when I got here to just pay the necessities like rent and stuff like that. And it's like well, me and Alex, I know you, and John May, I know you. Personally, we would all like to you know like the Sagamatic Studios and content creating. We would all like that to be our job, honestly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But you need money to make money.
Very true.
Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. But your Switch, Alex, you've been enjoying it. Even before we get into the whole Switch thing, you've been playing it. And well, of course you haven't played it, but have you unboxed it?
I have. It's sitting. I can't show it. I'm on my stream right now. I can't show it, but
Yeah.
I do have it on my desk. I've unboxed it. I've gotten it set up and everything. And yeah, like you said, I haven't had a chance to really sit down and play it yet, but I have gotten it all set up and whatnot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you ever have an original Switch one, or is this actually your first Switch?
No, so I actually never got a Switch one. I was kind of a little bit late to the party by the time I got out of college and everything like that. The pandemic hit, and obviously with everyone being at home, Switch was constantly sold out, and I just kind of figured by the time everything kind of settled down, by the time they started kind of getting more stock, I was already hearing rumors about the Switch, what we now know as the Switch 2, but at the time it was the Switch Pro and whatnot. There were all the rumors and stuff, and very strong rumblings that it was gonna eventually be confirmed sometime in the near future. So I figured, it's late in the Switch cycle anyways. I'm just gonna hold out and wait until the new one drops, and so that's what I ended up doing.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, to be real with you, even though I take my Switch with me everywhere, and you've seen when I used to work over at Dunham's, I used to take that thing with me everywhere.
Hmm.
I played it for a good while, maybe like 3, 4 years. But me, I got into I got into college too, and trying to get my film degree, and you know, trying to actually do what they did in them commercials. Sitting down and just playing it was not a thing for me. I think I even made a joke on Twitter where I was like, this thing has became. I made it like my mission, because like when I first got that Nintendo Switch, I made it my mission, and I can talk about it more later, when we start talking about the Switch 2, but like I made it my mission to bring that thing with me everywhere because that is what I wanted in life. But because we know, like you and me, I got so busy, it just became a paperweight,
Right.
or like a little carry around accessory.
It's more for
um,
show than anything.
I know, and I felt so bad because I got all these games. Same with Steam. I have all these games. It's like, yeah, can't wait to play them, but I can't.
Mhm.
Oh, so Jame, how have since you haven't been on in a while, how have you been?
Well, I've been going great, as always.
Nice. Anything you've been working on? Anything you've been doing?
Well, other than my two other podcasts have been uploading episodes for regularly, uh, I've, as of this recording, it's been many weeks since I've already graduated from university. So
Let's go.
my graduation is in a couple of weeks, in somewhere in mid-July. So it's going to be great.
I, that's a big milestone.
Oh, that's awesome.
Coming from a graduate myself, I can tell you those things are not easy.
Oh no, they're not.
Definitely not. And I think UK has a more stricter thing when it comes to university.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like tuition fees that students have to pay to the university, it is much higher for international students to pay for tuition for universities than it is for people that are originally from the UK. People in the UK, or at least in England and Wales, maybe Northern Ireland, they have to pay roughly £9,000 per year for the tuition, just general fees, tuition, etc. for university. But for international students, it's it's at least more than tens of thousands of pounds a year. So if anyone who's international has to pay a lot more in tuition or and other expenses for university than UK nationals.
Hmm.
And I would think, especially when it comes to like European colleges and stuff, or well, universities mainly, but I would think it might be as strict as like Japanese style universities, where like when it comes to the schedules and stuff like that. I feel like you guys have the most like demanding schedules.
Yeah, I think universities in the UK, it varies. Like there are some degrees in UK universities where there is lectures and seminars that are time intensive, but for some degrees, mostly creative, they're a lot more flexible. Like you can come in for like 3 hours one day and then maybe 1 hour the next day. And that's just the bare minimum. You could actually come in for a few more hours, but certainly you wouldn't not be going in no more than each week 12 to 18 hours. So different degrees, the hours you come in for seminars and lectures, it varies based on the degree and the content that you learn from them.
That is very interesting actually.
Quick,
So like,
quick question on that. Sorry, quick
I
question
know
on
you're
that.
good.
So, obviously, is a little bit of a difference in terms of the education in US and UK. So, like for university in UK, I know over here in the US, it's kind of when the pandemic hit, it transferred, kind of everything shifted towards more kind of online class. Is it kind of similar to that in UK, or is it kind of more traditional in person?
Well, as of now, it is most cases you go in person. However, there are times if it's outside of working hours, or especially during holiday times, talking over on Teams or any digital platform for communication would likely be used in the event that students at universities would have already gone back home to whatever hometowns they're originally from.
Mhm.
But of course, especially during the pandemic, surely such technology like that would be essential at the time. So
Mhm.
whilst you were in your accommodation or wherever you live, it was primarily talking online with your lecturers and other staff members regarding what you were learning.
Right. Okay, cool. That's just something I was thinking about. Sorry to interrupt. It was just something that came to mind.
That's all
You're
right.
good. I was gonna basically say that's a lot. Actually, well, I guess there has to be a catch to that, right? So, like, if you like to certain degrees, like you said, if you only have to show up for like 2-3 hours, I would guess that would translate to, you have to be there for say like 4+ years.
Yeah, attendance at university is strictly essential, and college too. Like, if you miss a certain days in a term, you will be called into a staff member's office regarding your attendance. And if your attendance continues to dip, the college or university will have no problem with just letting you go.
Hmm.
Like, they have no problem with that. They'll just let you go.
That sounds a
That
lot
is,
like how that sounds a lot like how college was described to us in high school, Jacob.
hey, hey, this is hey, the high school system was not talking about us. They were talking about them.
Yeah.
Oh well, man. Sorry. Didn't show up to your class. We're gonna have to let you go.
Yeah, that's literally how it was described to us when we were in high school, and then we go to college, and it's like over here the professors are like, I don't care if you show up. You've already paid for your tuition and stuff, and I've already gotten my paycheck, so I don't care if you show up or not. It's very just interesting the differences and how it's handled and how it's approached.
Now in our world, that might. I mean, you definitely wouldn't want to like skip too many times, but because like it could translate to like you would have to be like, I don't know, depending on the degree, um, like film, for instance, is like one of those really relaxed ones where it's like, oh, it's just a bunch of hands-on stuff, it's like, oh, if you miss a few days, it doesn't really matter because you weren't really like, even some of our professors even told us like, oh, hey, this day is really not that important. If you don't want to show up, you don't have to show up.
Right.
But the fact that you can be let go from a university or a college is like a job, like, or here's your paycheck in the mail, is wild. I know I have a very gut feeling in Japan they do the same thing because like in Japan they're very work culture first. They're very how would you say very disciplined. They're very you know like your typical CEO or your typical corporate
Job
type
oriented.
person works, yes, 80 plus 90 plus hours, where here in the United States that's unheard of. Like, us gamers, we would thrive in Japan because CEOs, yeah, CEOs have been known to stay up till like 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes. And it's like an expectation.
Right.
So, Jame, you need to drop your you need to drop your podcast on here so people can go and look it up.
Okay, yeah, just checking right now.
get some water real quick, chat.
And while he's doing that, so let's start talking about Nintendo Switch 2. I got to play mine a little bit, but not too much. I think it's mainly lived up to the hype. I won't get into what I think just yet. Again, not being able to play too much of it, but from what I've been able to like hands on and seeing on the internet and all that kind of stuff, because like work and like trying to get the content schedule back on track again, but it's not a big deal. Alex, based on what you've been able to like feel and like touch and see and all that good stuff, what do you think about Switch 2?
What I think about the Switch 2 is that it's a console that you can tell that Nintendo has been crafting and curating over the course of the last several years. It is very much a more premium feeling. Even not owning a Switch 1, the few times that I've played on others, my brother's Switch 1 and other friends and whatnot, even just those few experiences I had on the Switch 1, there's a noticeable upgrade in terms of quality with the Switch 2. Obviously, the screen is much bigger. The Joy Cons are bigger. I really like the new magnetic attach and detach for the Joy Cons on either side. I think it's. I don't know if you've sat down and done this yet. I know I have a few times sitting at my desk, just taking the Joy Cons out and then clicking them back in. I find myself doing that a couple times just impulsively because of how fun it is.
I did that. Well, of course, the sliding rail Joy Cons. I didn't really do it too much because I didn't want to break the rails.
Yeah.
I've done that with the original Switch and this one.
Yeah. I think the screen, I'm shocked when I look at the actual screen. I'm shocked that it's an LCD and it's not an OLED. I think that the screen is legitimately that good quality wise that you could tell me it was an OLED and I would believe you. I think I just think it's really well designed. I think that obviously Nintendo knew that they had something special with the Switch 1, and instead of going all out trying to completely overhaul it and redesign it, they just said, okay, let's take what we know works with the Switch 1 and let's make it better. And I think that over the course of several years, they've gotten it to this point. And I think it very much lives up to the hype so far. Even though I haven't played games on it yet, just a little bit of experience I've had with it, I think it's definitely the amount of effort put into making sure it's the best quality wise it could possibly be. I think it's pretty evident.
That's actually a very good point. I actually have a very good, since you mentioned that, that whole, Switch to, I've kind of been doing a little bit of research actually. So not a lot of people, well, most people like, most Nintendo diehard fans like myself, but excuse me, getting ready to burp. Anyways, a lot of people don't know about Furukawa, the current CEO of Nintendo, or well, in Japanese culture, the president of Nintendo, and that's because he's not really showed up in a lot of Nintendo directs. He's more of the business type. He's the numbers type. He's some more. We can kind of tell. During the Nintendo Switch life cycle, he's a very steady hand. He does a great job at running Nintendo. Don't get me wrong. He's he's what I've heard from a lot of Reddit forums and everything. He's carried Nintendo, but what a lot of people don't know about him. He came from a very, and these are the kinds of stories I enjoy. He was just an accountant, a low level accountant, worked his way up to, I think at some point, the president of Germany, Germany's branch of Nintendo. And then, after, the passing of Satoru Iwata, he became the next in line. There was like an interim president, and then, he stepped up to the plate, filled in the role. The Nintendo Switch 1 was a very interesting console because it was actually, if you really think about it, the last console that Satoru Iwata had made. And, this, like a lot of Nintendo fans were saying, this is not Furukawa's console, because like when, Satoru Iwata passed back in 2015, the Nintendo Switch original, originally called the NX,
That's
was
right.
basically, yeah,
I forgot about that.
it was in production, well, not in production, but it was in concept phase. And, after he passed, they considered that his vision, and there was a video I seen from the CEO of Nvidia, because Nintendo and Nvidia have a very long standing partnership now. Satoru Iwata had a very straightforward vision. He came to Nvidia at this point, the sadly the Wii U had failed, the 3DS had failed. He had taken a personal pay cut. But, I can say this, a million times. That is a very, very strong like trait of a leader. He took a personal pay cut, but then he's like, okay, this is not a failure. We have something here. You had the Nintendo Wii U, and he had the 3DS. He had the Wii U. It was a home console. You could technically go anywhere with it, but in your house. But then you had the 3DS that you could take about anywhere with you. So Mr. Iwata came to like a point where he's like, okay, what if we take the mobile department of Nintendo and we take the home console part of Nintendo and we merged it and we create what the Nintendo Switch is today. So he took that vision and went to Nvidia and said, "Hey, do you guys have a chipset that can support this vision?" And they were like, "Yeah." I mean, even though it's not a brand name NVIDIA chip like, RTX this or GTX that, it's mainly seen as a, from what I could tell, a chipset that's using like servers. I think it's like a Tigra type chip. It's mainly using like servers and stuff. It's, in Nintendo fashion, it's considered older. But and I have something to say about that here in a few seconds. But um, actually, believe it or not, before I get in my little thing, did you know before the Nintendo Switch original even came out, they actually wanted the original Nintendo Switch to have magnetic Joy-Cons?
Oh, really?
I had no idea.
I didn't know that either.
So apparently, when they were doing prototyping, they were testing out, but they could not find a way, because the technology I think didn't exist at the time, to use standard magnets to clamp to the side of the console. It worked at first, from what I heard, but eventually, after a while, tablets would start falling out of hands, and I know a lot of gamers would not like that. um, and at the time, I think I might be wrong, but I think the I don't think the AirPod Pros or AirPods were around in 2015. I don't think, were they?
Let me think. It would have been the AirPods were with the iPhone 7, which was 20, I think it was 2015 or it might have been 2016. It was one of those 2 years. It was when the iPhone 7 came out was the year of the AirPods. Around that same time, but I
Yeah,
don't remember exactly.
because I know there was a there was a fault in magnetic technology Because at some point there was like a change in how the magnets worked. Because I think when because funny enough, Nintendo got the inspiration from Apple. I think it was the type of magnet used. So you have when you think about magnets, you have typical magnets and then you have electromagnets. So we all know typical magnets. You stick them on a refrigerator. You see them in like your iPad cases. And I think even early generation AirPods, they theoretically magnets should last forever, technically. But over time, like like we've learned in science class, it's not the action of connecting a magnet that wears it out over time. It's actually the effect of if you slam a magnet. So if you continuously slam a magnet to, I mean, we all do it, like when you close your AirPod, you're like, you just want to close them up. You don't really think anything about it. But that continuous slamming of those magnets actually changes the pattern, the magnetic field, and how those magnets react to each other. And then over time, they weaken. And of course, you like the original Nintendo Switch prototype, they fail. And I think that's what they were testing because little kids gonna be slamming the magnets on the side. You can't control that, and over time that slamming and that mechanical reaction is going to cause it to fail. For at least the original Nintendo Switch. Excuse me. The Nintendo Switch 2, and a lot of people said this, uses a newer type of technology. So they use what we all know in today's, and what's used in a lot of like electronics, like MagSafe, stuff like that, electromagnets. So they're magnets so you can slam them all day long. You can press them against each other. They're not going to wear out theoretically because compared to a standard magnet, they have some type of charge to them that's keeping them magnetically charged, which is great for the Nintendo Switch 2 because it basically means the thing has that less of a chance of failure. However, I think there is a failsafe. Like, there's a click when you put the Switch Joy-Cons in. Not Switch, but Switch 2. So I think there is a failsafe if those magnets if they do fail, they are mechanically locked to the Switch in some way, at least from what I could feel. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting how they found a way to do that. But we're all that aside, like we could just go on and on and on about how they've changed things on the Switch. From the Switch to the Switch 2, but it's just so it. One thing I could say is it's so bizarre that we're in a new generation. This is not Satoru Iwata's console anymore. This is Furukawa's. I'm probably butchering that name. This is his console. This is his generation. This is his first generation, Nintendo Switch generation as a CEO, as a president. And I think now, I think what we're learning about him is, and and there's been some debate online about what type of president he is, what type of business he's created with Nintendo, and what kind of culture. And that is, he's created a bit of a safe culture. So, when you think of numbered consoles, you think PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, because it works. And now you have Nintendo Switch 1 and Nintendo Switch 2 because it works. It's the safer alternative. It's the upgrade method. It's sticking with what works. I mean, it's not well. I have my theory, but it's not Nintendo anymore. Nintendo's been known for flashy, unique, quirky, innovative to a degree. um, in a way, they have a lot of things that are very similar to Apple too. You know, like waiting for like years before they'll make a jump to something. You know, playing it safe, and that's not bad. You know, that's actually a very strategic move if you want to grow a company. But I think a lot of people have. I don't know what you guys think, but I think a lot of people have Furukawa wrong. I think the Nintendo Magic is still there. You know, I think because a lot of people love the Nintendo Switch original, where do you go from there? Like you've perfected the console, in my opinion, to a degree. And I mean, Nintendo still has that Nintendo magic. Like it's not for me, it's not gone. It's just been perfected. You know, yes, you don't have themes as of yet for the Nintendo Switch 2. We don't have menu music like it used to be on the Nintendo's Wii U and 3DS, but you still have that Nintendo, even though it might be expensive, quirk is still there. Like you still have amiibos. You have the Nintendo Alarmo. You know, a lot of people have forgotten that Nintendo Alarmo came out. You know, that's a little quirky, like funny, random, thing that came out. And then you have like the Nintendo Switch Music app. Like,
Sorry,
I
sorry, I
don't
felt the
think the
sneeze coming.
Nintendo Magic, like a lot of people have said online, has went away. I just think it's changed, and not that many people no, if that makes sense. Like, what do you guys think? I think it's still there. I think it's still the same Nintendo. It's just like all businesses, at the end of the day, businesses have to evolve. You know, as the world evolves around us. But so, like, what do you guys think?
I mean, I definitely agree. I don't think the magic's gone. I think it's just adapted with the changes in the industry as a whole, where you see where Microsoft's going in their direction, where they're stepping away from console gaming altogether and they're transitioning more towards PC focused and kind of this concept of honestly a little similar to Nintendo with this whole concept of you can play your Xbox anywhere you want, whether it's on a TV or whatever device on your phone. I think they've kind of made a push for that as well. I think that Nintendo is just kind of making it. They're adapting their strategies to fit with the industry, the direction it's going, and I mean they definitely still have, like you said, their own unique spin on how they handle their consoles, their games, and all that stuff. It just doesn't feel as colorful, I guess, as it used to be. But I definitely think that they're still trying to they're trying to hold on to their foothold in the industry as a whole because um when did the Switch 1 release? 2017, I think it was, or
Yeah, it's 2017.
2017. So we're talking about up until literally as of the time we're filming this, up until midnight last night. You're talking 7 years for a console life. That's crazy in today's industry, where you see Xbox coming out with new stuff, you see PlayStation coming out with new versions of their consoles, and I guess Nintendo to a point has done that with like the Switch OLED. But I guess I say all that to say I think Nintendo still has their touch. They've just changed the way they approach things.
Exactly, because and you and me both know, when there's a change in leadership, the culture changes.
Right.
And well, Mr. Furukawa is not a no-name CEO. Like I've seen a lot of, like threads and stuff like that. He's he's very much because if you think about like Japanese culture in general, they do things very differently, and that's why you see like a lot of companies in the United States try to emulate the same thing of promote from within rather than promote externally. That comes from that culture in Japanese, the line of succession. You know, if you think about, you know, samurai culture, if you think about their business culture, they, and even their like government culture, they have a very set in stone line of succession, like whether it be family or whether it be people from within say like the ranks of the samurai. They do that very intentionally because it's to keep the same culture going, the same idea. And when it comes to Nintendo, the you know the family that ran Nintendo for years, you know, when Iwata emerged to be the president of Nintendo, he actually came. They pulled it like a complete 360. He came from like a different group. He was outside of the world of Nintendo, but what they enjoyed about his vision is he was unique. He was what Nintendo was, and Nintendo has a very strong presence to their name Nintendo, because Nintendo, as translated out, and as Mr. Iwata had on his wall, is a message, and that message is leave luck to heaven, or leave luck, or some variant of luck. It basically means, the way I guess I would interpret it, leave it up to luck. And that message, you know, Nintendo, you know, very similar to American culture, that's your brand message. That's your mission statement. And their mission statement is very prominent. That's their big thing. And to them, it's so much of a big thing that it's their company name. And the last family member of the like Nintendo line of succession, seen Iwata as that vision. And you know, when Iwata, you know, when he stepped up in 2002, we had great things like the Nintendo Wii, the GameCube, and all that kind of stuff. And of course, you know, one thing that's a little bit different, you know, well, I'll go ahead and say this before I say that. The reason I say Mr. Furukawa um, is not a no-name CEO is because he actually was best friends with Satoru Iwata. Like Satoru Iwata had a group of people, you know, very much like a lot of CEOs, that would follow him wherever he went. And in Mr. Iwata's group was, you know, names we all know, Mr. Satoru Iwata, a lot of people we see in a lot of the Nintendo Directs for the Switch and now the Switch 2. And one of those names would be Mr. Furukawa. He and him were apparently close friends, and he learned a lot from Mr. Iwata throughout the years. And I think, and they said on somebody I seen in one of the threads that Mr. Iwata basically handpicked Mr. Furukawa as the next in line, because I believe they said if you get picked and like if you become the head of, I believe it was like marketing or um, the head of I believe it was finance. There some type of like head of like division, that you're basically the next one in line to be the president of Nintendo. And Satoru Iwata handpicked him to be in that role before he passed away, unfortunately. Well, sadly, I worded that wrong. But of thinking, and if you look into what type of person he is, he's a very soft. Yes, you know, he comes from a line of gaming. He's played, from what I could tell, a lot of golf sim games. He's played a lot of arcade games. You know, very similar to Doug Bowser, who's the current president over the U.S. branch of Nintendo, who actually succeeded Reggie, you know, Phil's anime. But Mr. Furukawa is a very soft-spoken leader. He ever since the Switch, ever since his elevation to the president in 2018, you've not really seen him that much. Maybe like one time. And, you know, again, Mr. Iwata was a very, very high expectation to live up to. He was very charismatic. He was very dorky. He was a gamer. And, he even went as far as to say, he's like, I'm a gamer at heart, but on my business card, I'm a developer and I'm a CEO. And that's a very high expectation to live up to. Um, so of course, there's going to be a different, different type of culture, but I'm not going to go out and say it's a bad type of culture. I think it's because he learned a lot of ideals from Mr. Iwata, how he runs things, how he does things. I think that's why we have a very successful Nintendo today. If it was any way different, we would have a very, very different Nintendo today. um, but not a bad Nintendo. I think things could have went different ways and stuff like that. But yes, he's a very soft-spoken person. Yes, he's very business focused. But he does what he does. He leaves the developers alone. He lets them do their own thing. He's even admitted he might not be a software game developer. He might be business first, but he admits he allows the developers to do their thing. He is not hands-on when it comes to development. He trusts the developers to do what they do best, and I think honestly that's the best way to do things. And to me, that's a continuation of Mr. Iwata's leadership. And again, that's very much that just roots from Japanese culture. That line of secession. Like what everybody here in the United States craves for. Like big companies like Walt Disney, Marvel, Apple. They when they find their CEO, they are looking for someone that not only continues their mission statement, but somebody that will continue the culture that, say, Tim Cook, Bob Iger, those types of leaders created, so there's not much of a culture change. And that's hard, but I think in Japanese culture they really perfected it. But it's interesting to know stuff like that, and it's very interesting to like learn those types of things and why we have a Nintendo Switch 2. Because it's the type of culture, and to me, having a Nintendo Switch 2 is, and I still think they could have called it a Super Switch, but that allows them to continue, say, with a Nintendo Switch 3, Nintendo Switch 4, etc. It might be boring, but to me, it allows them to take Mr. Iwata's vision and go into the future. Because, say, at some point, and we know Nintendo, that lets them have the opportunity to go, hey, maybe we can make a Nintendo Switch variant with virtual reality. And to me, it opens up so many possibilities. It opens up so many doors to allow Nintendo to customize and innovate with this specific kind of console model in so many ways that it's just unique. It's interesting. And I personally can't wait to see how far they can go with it. What are some things you guys would be looking for, say, for like a Nintendo Switch 3 or a 4? Since the 2 is already out, we might as well start talking about the 3 and 4.
You want this one, Johnny?
Yeah, sure. What I want to see for the Switch 3 is an implementation of augmented reality.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, actually. Excuse me. They like with a 3DS, like we're seeing a lot of things that Nintendo has done in the past brought back to now. Like, and that's a very Nintendo thing in general. We see the same games just remade. We see the same stuff. It's very Nintendo. And Nintendo did play around with the concept of augmented reality. With the Nintendo 3DS, um, you had those AR cards, and I think a few of them were limited. I really wish they would have done more with it. Um, I still think they could do something really cool with amiibos too, actually. But you had those AR cards. You would put them down on a table, and you'd have like a little mini game you could play. I I would love to see them bring that back. Would say I'm not sure if it's possible on a Switch 2 because you have that camera that you have to attach to the console rather than it being built into the console. I would love to see them bring that back. That would be very interesting. Um, and of course, system music would be nice, and themes. That's the echo chamber a lot of us are going to be saying for years and years and years. Um, Alex, based on an old Nintendo, 'cause I know you've not really played the Switch much, the original one.
Mhm.
Based on say old Nintendo things you've seen, um, 'cause I feel like from you, I feel like from you would come at it from more of a gamer perspective. What is some innovations you would like to see out of a Switch 3 and Switch 4?
Well, it would be difficult to really say something like right now, just because I mean, obviously Switch 2 is brand new. I would imagine that we're gonna have the Switch 2 for at least another 4 or 5 years before they make a new console. So it's gonna be really dependent on kind of where gaming and what kind of technological advancements we have between now and then. The big thing that sticks out to me is VR. Obviously we're seeing VR kind of start to take over with like MetaQuest, and I think there's some other brands that I can't think of the name of off the top of my head, but that's kind of the push, is sort of that VR experience that I think we're starting to see a little bit more of the gaming industry move towards. But AR also, like you said a little bit ago, AR would be cool to see. It's just kind of a tough question to really give a solid answer to right now, in my opinion. It's going to be kind of a wait and see, like I said, over the next few years as we see what direction gaming goes. I think that'll be what determines kind of what Nintendo focuses on for the next console.
Well, actually, you had a very good point, and I'm going to pull a Mr. Iwata, and I'm going to merge both of your ideas to in one thing here.
Mm-hmm.
um, Actually, yes, that could very well be the future for Nintendo. I mean, actually, Nintendo even did try to delve in a little bit with the original Switch with VR. It's just they implemented it in a very Nintendo way. And I think that right there is what kind of made them step back a little bit on their, Nintendo quirks. And I don't blame them. That you had the Nintendo Labo. I mean, it could have been a very great way of virtual reality, in my opinion. But the thing was made out of cardboard.
Right.
and and the technology you were working with, for virtual reality, were what the Nintendo Switch was. Um, they could have maybe even waited for like the OLED when you had a better screen. Because I mean, Nintendo. What one thing that surprises me, and one thing that really amazes me that Nintendo's not gotten into VR sooner. Nintendo's one of those companies that, to me, has perfected two things. They've perfected haptic control, vibration technology, and they've perfected the motion control. Some people might say they haven't, but to me, they have. Like if you think about the Wii U and the 3DS, oh my gosh, you would hate to use motion controls to play, like Mario Kart or something. But now that we have the Nintendo Switch, I know a few people, that would actually use the steering wheel thing they would ship out to just play Mario Kart because it's more immersive. and there was a lot of games that used the motion control, like Wii Sports. It worked out so well, and when it comes to controllers, the feel and the way that the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons 1 and Joy-Cons 2 are just comfortable to fit in your hand. And to me, I would love to see if they could find a way to do like an attachment, maybe even for the Nintendo Switch 2, maybe a potential Switch 3, that, would allow for a virtual reality, augmented reality combination. Because the motion control technology is there. It's very interesting, in my opinion, what kind of position Nintendo's in. They can, they have the possibility, all you do, you think about the Quest 3. The Quest 3 has, and why so many people enjoy it, it's a good budget friendly, now the Apple Vision Pro was a flop. um, Very good alternative to the Apple Vision Pro was the Quest 3 because it done, in my opinion, with the technology it was working with, very similar to Nintendo, a great and amazing job at blending the augmented reality to virtual reality border. And I think Nintendo has a very, very, very big chance to do an attachment, like a proper attachment, like not cardboard, plastic, not something you could uh, take in the rain and it will dissolve in like 20 minutes. But I think, like to me, a future for Nintendo would be looking at a VR, looking into augmented reality. And I think they're testing that. You know, Nintendo is always a step ahead than you think. Like when the Nintendo Switch 1 came out, they were already thinking about Nintendo Switch 2. So I have my theories what Nintendo might be working on, but the time I've had with my Nintendo Switch 2, I've enjoyed it. I really love it. I love the direction they went. I love how they've made it more better. Like they've answered pretty much, in my opinion, all the problems and woes and things we've had with the original Nintendo Switch. Like the Joy-Con, like one of my little gripes is the Joy-Con wobble's gone because like if those little clips like on your original Switch have a chip in them because every time they wear out, the Joy-Cons will go up and down. It's not like sturdy, but now you have those magnets and you have that firm click is more sturdy. That's something I appreciate. And even the mouse, the mouse thing. I know a lot of people bash the whole mouse thing, but that to me is like, hey, you're a third party developer, you develop games on PC. This is your window. Like to me, that's Nintendo saying they want to bring more PC ports, onto the Nintendo Switch, and how that's implemented. We don't know. We don't know this yet, but it opens. Like one of my gripes I used to have about like say like Five Nights at Freddy's. Games that the games that we did get that were technically considered PC ports, like Hogwarts Legacy 2 and other games also. Um, being able to use a mouse and then use your other Joy-Con as the quote unquote WSAD button, I wouldn't be opposed to that. um, yeah, again, that brings it, a different problem. Like, how would you do that? And I think money, that, like if you're just playing it on a couch, it would be very inconvenient. But yeah, we all know Nintendo is gonna be like, oh, you can buy a big old lap, big old lap mouse pad. We'll charge you like $90 for it.
Well, I think you mentioned the mouse thing, and we were talking about the VR earlier. I think that the mouse is the first baby step towards that because, like, think about it with like the MetaQuest. You think about the controllers that you use; they have a joystick on them that you use to look around and stuff, right? So I feel like it's a very it's a very small step in that direction, but I think that the fact that Nintendo is going out of their way to make their Joy-Cons more than just a Joy-Con, I think is the first baby step towards that. But I don't know.
And that is actually very interesting. It's not a Joy-Con anymore. It's really just innovative. Like there's so many things you can do with a Joy-Con. Um, again, just the motion controls. You know, you can add things like, let me see, you know, the mouse thing, like you said, and what else? There's just so many things you can do with a Joy-Con. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Nintendo's got a bright future. It really does, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see what they do.
Definitely, and I hope they lower them prices on them games a little bit.
You're not kidding.
And prices. You know, we were doing some math. um, speaking of prices, we cannot believe that in UK prices alone, a Switch is 500. A base model Switch is $562.
That's absolutely insane. That's still. I know we were talking about that a little bit ago before we got the podcast started and recording and everything, but that's still, we talked about that earlier, and that still is just mind-boggling to me how expensive that is.
I don't know. In the whole world of tariffs, and it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
Speaking of innovators and all that fun stuff. What? Okay, so I know a lot of you guys haven't really been able to tune into Twitch that much, but we're going to talk about Streamer University.
Oh boy.
Yeah. That thing.
Oh yeah.
Before I talk about it and what I mean, I think it has a bright future. What do you guys think?
Is it okay? So I didn't do much research into it. Like, to be honest, I remember I was at work when the announcement dropped and when the website for applying and all that went up, and by the time I got done with my work shift, like the entire website crashed and I never bothered to look into it. Is it a reoccurring thing? Because the impression I got was that it was just a one-time thing, like just a one-time big event.
Well, he's going to be doing more, from what I can tell.
He's gonna be doing
Oh,
more.
well,
Okay.
more like a to be determined. So
Right.
apparently, I heard he got a massive fine from the things that happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess the reason I asked is because just up front, the tiny bit that I heard about it, it seemed like just a big gimmick. It didn't seem like an actual, like, legitimate thing. And then obviously it ended up actually being a thing that blew up in popularity and everything. It's just I don't know. I guess just because I didn't do much research into it from the get go, I was kind of out of the loop with most of it. But yeah.
No, I can tell you, it was. Hmm, it was a gimmick. um, you know, for what it is, it was a gimmick. Um, he could have selected smaller streamers, and you know, this is just from what I could tell from the whole category they had. and there was some. It was his first time doing this kind of thing. You can kind of tell, and well, I'll start with here. So everyone in the category did not have any followers under 10,000. That is like the first thing I noticed about that category. Which, but even the category itself, like, okay, so I did like a little joke stream one night. I was like, I wonder if I could stream under this category. And like the last night, and it let me. And the category's still there. There's people still streaming on that category. That is, like, to me, the category should only be like location based. John, this is something we've talked about in the past. Like, it should know that the people that are streaming under that category should only be in that category. Not just anybody could stream, because like that could be bad. That PR wise, etc. That anybody could be like get on there. If they're like bad actors, they could get on there, pretend like they're anybody could just throw something up behind their setup and make it look like they're the college, and really make Kai look bad. One thing I could think of is, they could, if they were crazy and, they had a lot of money and resources to do something crazy, they could make it look like, oh, they could set their room on fire and be like, oh, we set the college on fire. And then you would know who would take the blame for that. Then, from what I can tell, a lot of the people that were there were ungrateful. I really felt for him. I felt for Kai. That one day, there was a very strict rule, and I apparently, because I made videos on it, I got it wrong. Apparently, they were doing this in Ohio. But we all know how bad Ohio is too. They had a curfew of 10 p.m. and that wasn't just, oh, you had to be in bed at 10 p.m. just because I said so. That was well, you could still be in your around campus, but not like you can't go outside. And that's because, what kind of person Kai Sinat is, and sadly, one of those students, one of those streamers leaked the location, and you got crazy fans showing up.
Sorry,
that can do crazy
sneeze,
things. And me
sneeze.
personally,
It's
thinking about the homeless people we've seen in Asheville, I wouldn't want to be in the streets of Ohio at 10 p.m. plus that plus insane crazy bands. And they all decided to go out and go on a party.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and the professors, quote unquote, that Kai hired took them to said party. And Kai, dude, Kai had to wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and go, like, he was mad. Like, he's usually Kai's one of them streamers. He streams for like 2 hours, 5 hours plus. No, he only streamed for 80 minutes. And that was to just go to that party and break it up and tell them to get back.
Yikes. That sounds like a mess.
I mean, it wasn't a bad idea, and it was entertaining, to be fair. Like what I think Kai does a good job at is creating a good show. He's a very visual person. Very similar to me. Very storytelling. He likes to do big, immersive, crazy things. And, don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing. But I think the planning could have been a little bit better. Apparently even at some point the Wi-Fi they decided to choose went down at some point. But all that aside, I think Streamer University is a good idea. I personally would like to see Kai do another Streamer University, but I think he's got to plan it better.
The sneeze is legitimately just, it keeps rising and it gets into my sinuses and then gone. It, like, immediately is driving me absolutely insane.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, it was fun. It was entertaining. Enjoyed it.
Yeah. I didn't really get to keep up with it, so that's
yeah. I really only kept up with the good stuff. Like Agent was streaming like useful information, like why we're doing a shared chat right now. Apparently that's the only discoverability you can get on Twitch. He shared, there was some useful information shared. And I think, we should, if they do another one, we should see more people Agent. But I don't know. I hope they do another one. Speaking of crazy, interesting, I've not been able to keep up with most of this because I'm going to hand this over to Alex. How's that sports world going? NHL and NBA we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So NHL and NBA are both in their respective finals. So in the NHL, which is the one I've been watching a lot more of, it's a rematch from last year's final between Edmonton and Florida. Edmonton just last night took the game one win, so they're up 1-0 in the series. And then over in the NBA, it is Oklahoma City and Indiana. I believe they just played their game actually tonight, right? Well, not right before, but not too long before we started the podcast. They played their game, and I believe Indiana got another comeback win. So I think Indiana won and has the game won, or has a series lead. Excuse me. So those two sports are in their respective finals right now. And then over in the NFL, actually just earlier this afternoon, the news broke. I think everyone was expecting eventually, but now it's confirmed that Aaron Rodgers is going to sign with Pittsburgh. So, as a Ravens fan, yay, because that's just going to not work out well for Pittsburgh at all. So, that's good for Ravens and Ravens fans. But like I said, I feel like everyone's kind of known that that was going to be the move for honestly probably two months now since free agency opened up, and well, now it's confirmed officially. So that's pretty much it right now. I really, with how busy I've been personally, I haven't really, like, I've watched NHL playoffs a lot more than I have the NBA playoffs, but even then I haven't really been able to keep up with a whole lot as of the last like week or so. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. It's like I've really excuse me. I've been we've all been busy, the only things I've been able to hear about NBA at least, and well, NHL has been from you, is like, friends that live around Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been, I heard things like, oh, Indiana could win it all, and I'm starting to see that now. But heard things about the Wolves, possibly having a chance, but well, that didn't really work out too well.
Right.
Speaking of us taking some time, being busy, having our own things going on. Tell you what, though, we should take more breaks because the craziest things happen when we decide to take some time away, like the Streamer University, and now the Nintendo Switch 2, and so many crazy things going on.
It's always when you're not able to get your reactions in the moment. That's always how it works.
So, I guess, since we're, kind of wrapping things up a little bit, we talked about mainly everything we want to talk about. And we're still testing. If you guys have like ideas for this podcast, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. How do you guys like the format? The I feel like we settled in. We got that whole, nonchalant vibe, just hanging out. Kind of, adult swimmy like vibe, I feel like. How you guys liking it?
I'm having a great time with it. I appreciate. I always appreciate you inviting me on anytime I have a chance. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. We just have fun with it. Like I said on one of the episodes, I see it as a way for me and you guys to just turn our brains off. Honestly, 'cause what you guys know, like a lot of the projects I've been working on, I go full hyper focus perfection a little bit too much sometimes, and this is a good outlet for us to just be like, turn it all off and just go with the flow and just let it be a thing. And I think it's doing a good job at doing that. um, anything you guys want to like say, do, be before we hop off for the episode?
Anything at all.
Yep.
You have anything, Johnny?
Well, there is something I would like to say.
Go for it.
Wubba dub dub.
True.
Pepper Morty. All right, yeah, I think we had fun. Great episode again, as always. Um, Next Thursday, we will, like we always do, we'll just see what happens. And that's pretty much every episode at this point now.
Next Thursday,
If
we will
you,
cross the bridge when we get there.
yep, as we are watching a bridge.
Yeah, true.
But anyways, you guys can drop your links in there if you want. I will, for you guys watching on Spotify and YouTube. On YouTube, I'll drop your links. It's Rocket Man on everything he streams as he can. John May, gotta go check out his podcast. I will link his podcast in the description, or you can just find it. John May Lune Show. And I think that's an episode. Another episode.
Yay.
Nice.
Now I got a video I gotta make because I've had an Undertale video on the back burner for like 2-3 days now, so now I gotta edit that, and I'm going to do a very interesting shift to Deltarune, kind of like do a little creative thing like the next video, so like be looking out for that. It's gonna be really cool. But anyways, if you guys want to see all that I'm working on, there's my stuff right there, and here is my Discordo. If you guys want to hang out in my Discord, chat, play games with us, all that good stuff.
And
Anyways,
shout out to
guys,
everyone who's here live on the Twitch streams. Shout out to everyone who's in chat.
yes, you guys have been amazing. We love it when you guys show up live.
Oh yeah.
It just makes our day. But anyways, I guess be looking out for a lot of our projects. We got a lot. It's the summer. Our summer stuff is coming. A lot of our summer stuff is starting to come out pretty soon. So as always, we will see you guys in the next one, and never forget to keep shining. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Cheerio.
Alright, chat. I'm gonna go ahead and end stream. Appreciate y'all hanging out tonight. And I'm just trying to make sure I got everything closed out correctly. I'm gonna see if anyone's live. If not, then it might just end stream. Let's see who's live. Because it's 3:30 in the morning, and like I'm literally about to end stream, and within 5 minutes I'm gonna be laying down and calling it a night. So, I feel bad if I like just go and raid and immediately dip, but like also, again, it's really late. Yeah. No, it looks like everyone that's live on my following feed is either at almost 100 plus viewers or is it's Jacob, and then everyone else that I'm following is like 100 plus viewers. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and end stream. Thank you all again for hanging out tonight. I will be live. I guess now it's technically today because it's 3:30 in the morning. I'll be live sometime during the daytime tomorrow / today, whatever you want to call it. We'll be doing Mario Kart World. Again, go vote on my Instagram feed. If you haven't already joined Discord, use the link that was just put in chat. And yeah, I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. And have a great night, everyone. Appreciate y'all.